Well, here we are again, folks. Brother Peter, finishing up Psalm 18. Psalm 18. We're going to be starting in verse 45. It said, "The stranger shall fade away and be afraid out of their close places." This is talking about during the millennial reign. As I mentioned in our last excerpt about that millennial reign. Just about, you've either got to just believe what I'm telling you or search it out for yourself. If you haven't been in the Bible long enough to search it out, get you a Strong's Concordance. I laid mine right over there just a few minutes ago. Get you a concordance, a big Bible concordance, or get you a Bible reference Bible right here. This particular one right here is called an Oxford. It's a King James Version, but it has all of those things I'm talking about here in the margins and on the side. It has a breakdown for you. You can go back and forth in the New Testament, Old Testament, New Testament, Old Testament. The New Testament is the answer to the Old Testament. And the Old Testament is the story of the New Testament. And so that's how it works. One tells the other. It's kind of like if you plant a pumpkin seed, you get pumpkins. And the Old Testament is the pumpkin seed for the New Testament, and the New Testament is the pumpkin. How about that? And it's a big pumpkin. And it's full of seeds. It's full of seeds, and those seeds sow in the heart of man. And as you sow the seeds of the New Testament in your heart, you're going to grow a vine. Jesus said you'll be a vine. You'd be attached to His vine. If you're attached to His vine, you're attached to the biggest vine that ever was and ever will be. And if you're not attached, you're going to be knocked off or cut loose one day. So you can act like you're attached and not be. The stranger shall fade away, He says here, and be afraid out of their close places, which will take place at the coming millennium. The Lord lives, and blessed be the rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted. Jesus was called the rock of salvation. He was the rock they stumbled over in the desert. Jesus was the rock that followed them throughout their full trek. Why were they in the desert so many years? Because they rejected to go into the promised land the way God told them to. He said, "I've got you a land I prepared for you. I'm going to take you out of Egypt, and I'm going to take you over there, and you walk into that land." Instead, they sent spies in there, 12 of them. And out of the 12, 10 of them were not godly. 10 of them didn't know God, if you want to know the truth. Joshua and Caleb knew God. And they were the two that said, "Let's walk in there and take them. There'd be nothing. We just walk in there and take them." But those 10 that were lost saw that those men were bigger in size than they were. And they looked at the size of the problem rather than the problem solver. Joshua and Caleb looked at the problem solver. He said, "We've got a problem solver. God's our solver. We're going to walk right in there." But Joshua and Caleb had to wait 40 years to go in because of the failure of those other 10. But they did get to go in. The Lord lives, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted. Wow. Again, we're talking about in the millennial reign, the exaltation of at long last will be with us in that millennial reign. And sin will be put down. By the way, Jesus is on a white horse, and He's coming out of heaven, and He's coming down for the millennial reign, and we're with Him in our white robes on our white horses, coming down for the millennial reign, and He is going to be the God of this world and the reigner of this world. And He'll put down Satan. He'll lock him up in the bottomless pit. And the song of the world will be, the Lord liveth. And we're going to see him. We're going to see him. We're going to follow him on this horse. We're going to be looking right at him. And we're going to come. It is God who avenged me and subdued the people under me. By the way, David's writing this psalm in the Old Testament, and he's telling in the Old Testament what's going to happen at the end of the New Testament for those who are following Jesus and following God. He delivered me from mine enemies, yea, you did lift up me above those who rose up against me. You have delivered me from the violent men. While David was delivered from Saul, Christ was delivered from all his enemies. Christ was delivered from his enemies. When Christ was on the cross, his deliverance was full. When he yielded his spirit to God, all his enemies were put down. And let's get into verse 49. Therefore will I give thanks unto you, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto your name. At this moment, until, again, the millennium in the Gentile world sing praises to the Lord. Because Jesus went to the cross. Because those scribes and Pharisees and those guys rejected him, the Gentile, you and I who are not Jews, have been given this book for us. It was written to the, well, we'll say it was written to the Jewish nation, to the Jews. But the New Testament came over and grafted in the Gentiles, which are you and I. And a Gentile is anybody that's not a Jew. The great deliverance gives he to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore. When I became a Christian, I became his seed forevermore. Not just for this earth, but for the time when we're carried out to heaven and we're going to be in a group of people before the great white throne judgment that says if you're here, you're saved. You wouldn't be here if you weren't saved. But because you're here, you're saved. And then there's going to be a judgment of works. What did you do, Peter? Did you pass out tracts, Peter? Did you take these things out of your pocket and say to somebody, sir, if you died right now, would you go to heaven? If you do what it says in this little piece of paper, you will go to heaven. And I'd like to see you there. I'm giving this out at a gas pump. I'll never see that man again in this world. More than likely, his tag says Ohio. My tag says Georgia. The next tag says Illinois. The next tag says Florida. And pass them out at the station. And I may never see them until we get to heaven. If they go to heaven by this, they'll be counted in the number that Brother Peter spoke to, which is important that you do the same. And you need to do it. Now listen to what David says. Only of David and the great victory that God gave him. But he speaks even more so his anointed, meaning the son of David. Also, this same victory is promised to all of us because of the son of David. For it says, to his seed forevermore. To his seed forevermore. Imagine that now. We are the seed of God through his Son, Jesus Christ. Forevermore. Not just for this little finite world, but forevermore. Man, if you've never asked Jesus to save you, do it right now. Say, God, I am a sinner. Forgive me of my sin. Come in my heart. Save my soul. He'll do it right now. And you follow him. If you are a Christian, get in the Word. Start today. 10 minutes. 10 minutes today. Get up in the morning. 10 minutes. You can put the coffee pot on and while it's perking, that's your first 10 minutes. Get your Bible out and look at it. You say, well, you know, I'm on a short, tight schedule. Well, work your 10 minutes into that schedule. Working in every day. We'll see you next time. Right. Bye-bye.